Hello, and welcome once again in my series on the facts about life. This will be episode 14. We're proceeding. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about the secular way of looking at things as opposed to, and truly in almost contradistinction to, a religious or a spiritual way of looking at life. And from that, I'm going to go to talk about morality and the troubles that moral chaos brings upon us. And lastly, a little bit about guardianship and the importance of safeguarding traditional wisdom traditions and the principles that established our government, our wonderful country, the United States of America. So today, under the influence of the academic elites, many in today's generation of Americans have become irreligious and secularized. Many in the generation of these modern times believe that material existence is all there is. For them, a moral and spiritual life has no value and no real meaning. Many of them, in their abandonment of humanity's time-honored traditions and religious principles, are even engaged in the process of eliminating from their consciousness the notion of family and its traditional place in society. Sadly, such thinking is calamitous for virtue and character and goodness. It demeans morality and is disastrous to a stable, law-abiding society. We are now seeing in our streets and on our social media platforms and media outlets more violence, chaos, and disrespect for law and authority than I have ever witnessed before. It is truly maddening sometimes to see what's going on. The chaos of violent protest and societal disorder from which our nation has for so long been preserved by the morality in our people and by the brilliance of the principles embedded in our Constitution is now upon us. The oppressive and intolerant violence agenda of the left and the left-wing narrative is a menace to our liberty and our God-given natural rights. This menace cannot be turned aside by the secular guidance of modern-day liberals. For one thing, they just don't have the moral rectitude required. For another, these so-called moderates are actually leading us in the opposite direction. They are leading us into the chaos of egalitarianism and collectivism, both legislatively and administratively, and throughout much of our corporate structure. Their intrusive lawmaking and liberty-limiting bureaucratic dictates are incredibly damaging to the moral well-being of our nation, to say nothing of their disastrous effects on economic success and prosperity. The societal menace their liberty-limiting collectivist ideology creates is not the most dangerous danger, however. The outer chaos of societal disorder pales in comparison to the danger of inner chaos within us, within our immortal soul. That danger is incomparably more serious and more damaging. With inner moral chaos, darkness engulfs the soul and confusion reigns in one's heart. One's conscience is clouded and befuddled. One is no longer able to discern true from the false, or the good from the bad, or to even care about those distinctions. Those who revolt against the universal moral laws of God and deny the realities of human nature and the universal order of things do indeed work their own spiritual ruin and usher in the ruin of a civilized society. Reason, order, peace, virtue, character, and fruitful penitence in our nation has, for many of us these days, been replaced by the antagonistic, chaotic world of a rather self-indulgent madness. This revolt against truth and morality has spawned discord, disunity, vice, confusion, and unavailing sorrow for so very many of us. We need to stop this downward spiral. Thankfully, there still exists in many who obtain to influence and power in our country the subtle yet strong impulse of guardianship. They are our defenders of liberty and our traditional American values that are rooted in individualism. They possess the will and the ability to stand up for liberty and the just laws that brought us societal order, security, and prosperity. These good people strive for us to ensure that our government protects our liberties and our God-given human rights. I harbor the utmost gratitude and respect for them, and everyone that has a genuine respect for all the loves, joys, liberties, and opportunities awarded us by our Creator. The noun conservative actually signifies guardian or defender, one who is a conservator of those principles that protect civilization and civilized society. Someone who seeks to wield the sword of truth. These are people of good and honorable character. We need to respect and support them. It remains conceivable, even with the chaos and unrest we see unfolding before us, that which is worth conserving in our culture will be valiantly protected and saved. I trust that Providence will grant among the rising generation more and more conservative truth tellers with the will and talent to protect America's traditional liberties and customs and the promises that they offer us all. If enough of us get on the conservative truth-telling bandwagon, I know that we can overcome the evils, truly, the evils of collectivist social philosophy and its current incarnation under the sheep's clothing of liberalism, progressivism, and welfare state socialism. Let us strive to reinvigorate our accepted conventions, customs, and general social agreements with humanity's wisdom traditions. They are humanity's well of truth. They are a lantern that guides our way through the darkness. They are a lighthouse that protects us from the evils of falsehood. They provide us with good and sound advice about how people may best conduct themselves and how we can live together peacefully. They give us enlightened principles that provide us with leadership and solutions for our modern day political and social problems. I think the following quote gives us an excellent starting point in our examinations of the differences between liberal and conservative philosophies about life. It comes to us from Essays in Our Time, a rather brilliant commentary on the human condition by the brilliant, world-renowned poet and essayist Samuel Coleridge. Coleridge said, "In every state, not wholly barbarous, a philosophy, good or bad, there must be. The existing spirit of the age during any given time will always provide the spirit, religion, legislation, politics, and morals, nay, even of the fine arts, the manners, and the fashions. Nor is this less true if the great majority of the people know and feel the philosophy of their age only by its reflections and refractions." Simply stated, the spirit of the age weighs on people's minds and influences them to believe what they believe, and has ever been. As people believe, so do they behave. Let us believe again in happiness, in virtue, in good character, in honor, in dignity, in all of the good and wonderful things of life. These deserve to be embraced and advanced by all of us. Well, there's my lesson for today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye for now.